Say rolling around, sitting on doves, can't lie, I was high on shrubs.
So the topic, go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang, he is Nate. Today we're ending our villains of the decades with the 2010's bracket. He'll tell you how their brackets work. Very easy, very simple.
Two villains will pop up on the screen, and then we decide which one deserves to move on to the next round. If we disagree, we play rock, paper, scissors. If only one of us has, or if one of us has only seen one of the movies between the two villains, then the person who's seen both movies gets to pick. Up first, we have Thanos versus I don't know what his name is.
General Zod.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to be
Zod.
Didn't want to be wrong. Did see the movie though.
This is easy.
Yeah,
Thanos.
it's Thanos.
Snap him away, bruh. Snap him away like you snapped that man's neck. Somebody snapped his neck away.
Next up, we have Annabelle versus the white people from Get Out.
You know, Annabelle, we've seen that before.
A doll.
Yeah. White people knew it's interesting. It was meta.
Yeah.
It was different. So, I think, what's the family called? The Arbridge?
Yeah, it's something like that. Arbridge is, I don't know.
I don't know. Let me get the white people. That was a good twist.
Yeah. We're the villains in real life, so.
Oh, shit.
Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker versus Steven from Django Unchained. This is the problem for us. This is probably the easiest matchup we've ever had in our entire life.
For real.
Because neither of us like that fucking movie, and we both love Steven.
Yeah.
So.
Big Django fans. Let me get Steven. All day and tomorrow.
Next up, we have live action Scar versus whatever monkey is the bad guy in whatever Planet of the Apes movie this is.
Kubo, I think. Let me get Kubo.
I hate monkeys, and I generally hate voting for them, but the live action Lion King just pissed me off because it's not live action, and it took everything that was good about the original Lion King and sucked it out of it. So. All right, Bane versus Tom Hardy from The Revenant.
Tom Hardy on Tom Hardy crime.
It is.
See, the one thing about Bane is he broke homie's back.
It's true.
Like, if we're going off points, Bane has more points against Batman, but Tom Hardy, he's just an asshole for really no reason. But he feels like he's right.
Yeah.
It makes him more scummier.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Tom Hardy. Just because. Oh. Not Bane. I don't know his fucking name. I'm leaning towards 1840s Tom Hardy. Maskless Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Because his acts, to me personally, are more unforgivable. Because he makes me hate him in that movie.
Yeah.
Where Bane has this coolness to him.
It's true. He does. I know it is generally considered a not good movie.
It's not.
I don't think it's good. It's very middle of the road for me. I don't find it good or bad. I've always appreciated this version of Bane.
I did as well.
Because the Bane that I always remembered was just like
green,
this mindless, like almost Hulk-like but stupider character. But
it's up in the animated series. He's pretty smart.
Right. But yeah, I'll go Revenant Tom Hardy. Freaking Fletcher. Or wait, no.
I think it's Fletcher. J.K. Simmons.
Is that his name or is that whatever? J.K. Simmons from Whiplash versus Amanda Waller.
I think it's J.K. Simmons from Whiplash.
Yeah, me too. He's like
Right, he be saying
ass.
He says the R word still.
And she just works for the government.
Well, she is kind of like, she's a manipulative. Like,
yeah, these people are all like criminals.
Yeah.
Not that they don't.
Well, I'm just saying, like, she has a right to be on here. But a match against J.K. Simmons, no way.
Yeah. She's not his tempo.
Exactly. And J.K. Simmons' name in that movie is Terrence Fletcher.
Oh,
you
I was right.
Correctamundo.
Yeah. Amy from Gone Girl versus Mysterio.
It's crazy. Mysterio kind of wins in his movie.
Yeah.
But Amazing Amy is, bruh.
Yeah.
Dub. Easy.
For sure. She's pretty awful. Killmonger versus
Immortal Joe.
Immortan Joe.
This is a
Mad
really
Max,
good
Fury
matchup.
Road. Yeah. Because the thing is we don't really get to know him.
Yeah. He's just like this tyrant.
But
cool.
but we get to know his victims.
Yeah.
So it's like he's holding water back from the people so he can live his lifestyle. He's keeping women as slaves to make babies, which is rape, which is really bad.
Yeah.
He's kind of got a point.
Yeah. He also has more depth.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards good old Eric.
Yeah. Definitely like doesn't see himself as a villain.
Yeah.
Morton Joe probably doesn't.
tyrant.
He probably doesn't care if he's a villain or not. You know. So yeah, I'll give it to Killmonger. All right, Thanos versus white people.
I'm about to go with Thanos, dude. Like, he killed half the population.
Yeah, and he's like
Thinks he's right.
he's
got
incredibly
a point.
imposing. Had been pulling strings for like 15 movies.
Yeah.
Like
I gotta give him the respect.
yeah. Steven versus a stupid monkey.
Kubo. I'm going Steven.
Me too. I hate monkeys. I really do. And Steven's freaking awesome.
It's getting worse and worse. This is a good matchup.
Yeah.
Two real life people. I think just for like, I feel worse. This sounds bad. I feel worse for Miles Teller than I do Leonardo DiCaprio because I guess Fletcher is more of a relatable villain
Yeah.
to a sense.
Well,
And just like what he goes through mentally.
true. Here's my thing. At the end of the movie, Miles Teller does not see him as a villain. He sees him as a guy who pushed him to the next level. The ends may not justify the means. It may have been an incredibly tumultuous and toxic relationship, but by the end of the movie, he is not a villain to our main character. Whereas, until the day Leonardo DiCaprio's character dies, he is going to hate this man's guts. Even though he spilled them.
But Fletcher just has this. I remember Fletcher more.
Yeah.
He's got better lines.
The answer is Fletcher. I'm just making conversation.
Okay. Conversation over. Click that ball, beautiful
Yeah,
son of a bitch.
I mean, he's like, Tom Hardy's character sucks. I'll be honest. If you don't have subtitles on, you cannot understand a word that man says in The Revenant. Whereas you hang on to every word that comes out of Fletcher's mouth in Whiplash.
Got our first hard matchup.
Yeah, Amy versus Killmonger.
Damn. Just like the Black Panther franchise, Killmonger should have went farther.
Yeah.
I'm going Amy.
Me too, dude. She's like awful.
Yeah, dude, she's the worst.
Like, she is awful. And the thing is he's not great, but he didn't like, he wasn't manipulative or anything. He had a legitimate blood claim to the throne, challenged Homie to a fight, and beat him. I mean, shit he did after
He's
that.
not great, but
Yeah, I mean,
he killed some people along the way.
right. Thanos versus Steven.
Let me get Nick Fury on the upset.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Thanos, incredibly imposing. Like, the Avengers have been through all this stuff. They beat the invasion together. Like, they've handled Ultron. They did all this stuff, right? And it's all led up to Thanos, who's the big bad. And he beats them. Like, he wins at the end of Infinity War, basically, right? But he's also, like, he's still kind of flat in a sense. He is singular-minded. He has this one thing. Nothing that Thanos says is particularly interesting or stabbing. He's just strong as shit.
Yeah.
And got the gauntlets. Steven is conniving. He's manipulative. He is the entire reason that their plan did not work, because he noticed that Django and Brunhilde knew each other. Like, he's the one who put that in Leo's ear. He's the one that gets Django sent. Like, they were just going to kill him, and he's like, nah, I want this motherfucker to suffer. So I'm going to convince these white people to send him to go work in a slave mine, and succeeds. Steven is pretty freaking evil. So
I don't agree with you about the Thanos thing. I think that character does have depth. I think they do drop the ball with his character arc in the last movie.
What depth?
And make him...
So people died on my planet.
I'm talking about the stuff with the daughter, and that kind of stuff. But the answer's still to Uncle Tom. The Uncle Tom, Steven, he's moving forward. He's a... God, that's going to be... Fuck.
This one's pretty tough.
Nah, not for me. It's Amy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
as you said...
I kind of go back to my point.
You get that self-respect at the end.
Yeah.
And what she does is unforgivable. And there's no telling what else she's doing to this man.
Yeah. Fletcher pushed a kid to kill himself. But...
Well, haven't we all? I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
I really hope not.
Dark humor.
Yeah. She actually kills someone. So...
Yeah. Oh, that's
two great movies.
God. This is the hardest. Probably the hardest bracket ever. This is probably the hardest for the villains for sure.
Yeah. I think worth pointing out that she wins. It wasn't the way that she planned on winning.
Yeah.
She had to adjust her plan. But like, homie's gotta stay with her for at least a while. I think about this a lot, like what happens after the end of Gone Girl, because he can't divorce her immediately. Like, they've got too much attention, like national news media and all this stuff. Like, he can't just immediately get out of there, right? So it's like, does he wait it out long enough to be able to get away from her? Or does she, like, have enough time to come up with a plan and freaking kill him?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to me, which villain do I like better?
Yeah.
Is Steven. The whole snowball thing, the N-word on the nag. There's a lot of comedicness to the character of Steven.
Yeah.
Your daddy rolling his grave. We got the burn the sheets, burn the bed. It's your bed. Do what you want with it, motherfucker. Like, there's a comedicness to it.
Yeah.
Where her is just pure fucking hatred.
Mm-hmm.
And for a villains list, I feel like hatred beats a comedic element.
Yeah.
Or a dumb villain. Like, on our top 5. That's what I went with, who was more hateable. So, I'm going to have to stick with that logic and go with Amy.
Yeah.
Which, I don't want to, because Steven's just he's a mean son bitch, but...
He's a crotchety old bastard.
He is a crotchety old bastard. Speaking of...
Alright, we have Calvin Candy.
Well, so you don't remember his name?
Versus the bad guy from one of the James Bond movies.
Harvey Bardem. I've never seen a James Bond movie, so... Just to kind of...
He's alright. It's definitely nowhere near my favorite Javier Bardem performance. There's lots of aspects of this character where he just feels very flat and kind of boring to me. Whereas Calvin Candy is never not interesting and is one evil motherfucker. So... Sick.
Okay. Oh, this is all you.
Alright, freaking Grindelwald versus Mark Zuckerberg.
I haven't seen any of these movies, so it's all you, baby boy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Grindelwald is fictional, and he's a racist. He's basically magical Hitler. But Mark Zuckerberg is real, and he is a villain. Like, a lot of people may not realize it. That motherfucker's a villain. So, I'm going to take him.
That motherfucker like Brainiac, too.
Dang, what's his name?
Lots of hugs.
Lots of hugs, yeah.
You need lots of hugs.
Versus Ernesto de la Cruz from Coco. Okay, so Lotso...
They're kind of the same.
Well, Lotso does some really, like, jacked up stuff.
Yeah.
But...
They're kind of the same. Oh, I'm your friend.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
true.
Turn.
Yeah, but Lotso is like... He has a bit of a sympathetic backstory.
Yeah.
It's just like, he just doesn't want to be not played with, right? But he doesn't... But he kind of forces other toys to be in that situation. This guy took credit for Homie's granddad's songs, played himself off like he was like the mastermind behind everything. Basically had that little kid convinced that he was his daddy. That ain't your daddy. That was lust, not love.
What the fuck
He is
you
your
talking
daddy.
about?
Oh, come on.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about right now.
It's from the Water Boy.
Oh. Jeez. I haven't seen that shit in like 10 years.
So, in my head, this guy is a true villain. Like, he took credit for all this stuff, even in the afterlife. Like, he is willing to let other dude just, like, fade from memory and disappear so he can live on as, like, the greatest musician ever, even though he didn't write any of that shit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, I think it's Ernesto de la Cruz.
This will be our first rock off. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I'm not mad about that one, though. Very even.
Kylo Ren versus not actually
Yeah, I don't
that
think they have
person.
names.
Huh?
I don't think they have names.
Yeah, I don't. This tethered person.
I feel like this is easy, even though I don't think he's a good villain. He's the more iconic one.
Sure.
So I feel like you have to go Ren, even though I don't like it.
Yeah. He looks cool as shit. Pennywise versus is this from Avatar?
No, that's one. Don't breathe.
Oh, okay. Well, it is the same guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pennywise versus. I got some cool shit in my basement. If you want to see it, blind guy from Don't Breathe.
He tries to impregnate a girl with a turkey baster. What do you mean?
He does.
That's not cool shit. That's gross.
It's sarcasm.
You weren't very good at sarcasm at that moment. See, that's like a real
Or
life
you just
crime.
weren't smart enough to pick up on it.
Like, that's a real life crime.
Yeah.
However, Pennywise,
Yeah, that shit's stored up in the freezer, dog.
he's killing kids.
Yeah.
He's torturing. He's bringing their biggest fears out. He does Batman Scarecrow better than Scarecrow does.
That's true.
So it's kind of, it's like these 180s. That's hard to.
For me, I default back to what I have said every time we've done a villain bracket. A demonic form of energy who probably could not choose to do good. Meaning, anything evil that he does isn't a choice. That is, he just like is an embodiment of evil. Does not make him a bad villain, but to me, it is always going to be more villainous when you have the option to choose to not be a piece of shit, and you choose it anyways.
Well, Don't Breathe too. They try to make him sympathetic, and it falls flat. However, for this one, I think Pennywise's longevity of fucking with these people and the amount of people he fucks with gets him the win for me. So I'm going Pennywise.
Excuse me. Oh. Yeah, I don't care about either of these enough, so sure.
Great. Enthusiasm.
Tell me his name.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Oscar Isaac, dude.
Versus
The Beast.
the Beast.
I think this is easy. obviously the Beast can't control himself. He just wants to kill.
Right.
But because he's a Dr. Pepper villain and has 23 other flavors, I'm going to have to give it to James McAvoy from Split.
I dig it. All right. Calvin Candy versus Mark Zuckerberg. It's still just... I almost just want to do Mark Zuckerberg versus all these people because it makes me think of real life Mark Zuckerberg versus these people. It would have been really funny if they'd put his first matchup against Elon Musk because they had that whole, like, we should have a MMA fight. No, he hasn't. But actually, there have definitely been characters that were, like, supposed... No, he has been. He wasn't a bad guy. He has a cameo. What movie is that?
Iron Man?
Yes. It is. It's Iron Man 3. Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Snowdown.
Yeah, it's still Calvin Candy. For sure. Kylo Ren versus Ernesto de la Cruz.
Let me get Ernesto de la Cruz.
Let me think for a minute.
It's fuck Star Wars. Bro, there's some piss poor moments that ruins his villainy. That whole awkward scene of him not wearing a shirt when they're like mind talking. There's just moments that flatten him out. That takes his cool moments down. And he's a hero in the third. Second, whenever they're in the Red Room, he's wishy-washy.
Yeah, he kind of... He starts... Well, that was what I was thinking about, was whether or not I really consider him a true villain. Because even in the
first one, he's a true villain. He has a sympathetic-ass backstory, but overall, he's a true villain.
Yeah, but it's villains of the 2010's, right?
Yeah.
And so I can't just consider the first movie because the character is so yeah, I just don't think Kylo Ren is enough of a villain. So I'm down. Pennywise versus the Beast.
Pennywise, he enjoys it. I don't think the Beast really knows what the fuck he's doing.
Right. I'm down with that.
The only good clown on this bracket.
Calvin Candy versus Ernesto de la Cruz.
Yeah. I mean, plagiarism would probably piss me off. But a slave owner would probably piss me off more.
No, for sure.
So Candy gets a dub.
Yeah.
Candy
versus Pennywise.
Candy.
You're already calling it out?
Yeah. Dude. Calvin Candy thinks he's right.
Yeah, that's true. In the worst way possible.
And he gets manipulated like a bitch, which makes him look stupid. And that can infuriate you at times, you know?
Well, that's part of the character too, though.
Yeah.
Because they say that he considers himself a Francophile. And so, like, he thinks that he's cultured and smart and understands all this stuff.
Don't speak French to him.
When you're right, but in reality, like, he's being manipulated by Django and the Doctor. Steven, it's really easy for Steven to push him in certain directions, so. And then in the finals, it is Amy versus Calvin Candy.
See, I had a harder time picking between Steven and her.
Yeah.
So for me, it's obvious. Mm-hmm. It's Amy. Still a really good final. But I'm choosing Amy. That could happen to me one day. That's scary.
That's true.
Auto the Caps, they've been dead.
I like it. I feel like it's like a hot-ish take, but I dig it. So.
Dig what?
No, I think it's Amy. Like,
I don't think it's a hot take.
It's definitely a hot take. Like, if you polled 1,000 people, who's a better villain, Calvin Candy? Leonardo DiCaprio is Calvin Candy, or this person? Like, it would be overwhelming the amount of people that would choose Calvin Candy.
Tell us in the comment section who's a better villain.
I think it's the right take. It's just not it's not what would be the popular one, which is the definition of a hot take.
Yeah, sure. But let us know in the comment section. This was actually pretty solid. A good amount of big villains. A lot of comic book villains.
Yeah.
Which kind of made it easier for us.
Mm-hmm.
Some cases. Killmonger should have went further, but it is what it is.
I love how easy it was for us to eliminate the Joker so early.
Yeah.
That version of the Joker so early.
Jokers have done well in these brackets.
Yeah.
I would switch Pennywise out for Fletcher, though. That would have been a true Final Four for me.
Mm.
But, that's just how this shit turns out.
Yeah.
But, let us know in the comment section where we fucked up, who should have won. Amy, Candy, who's the better villain. Put all that in the comment section below. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.